Our favorite cave family is back at it again. The Croods adventure continues with a new family and new problems. You know what they say. Mo nanas, mo monkeys.
This week we watched The Croods 2, A New Age.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat a-hole? I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire!
Interesting choice of words.
What is it? What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Oh my God. I'm a pixie pear! Okay, let's run.
This is the Unbearable Fate of Massive Talent. I'm Brittany Green.
And I'm Liz Kurtzman.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, so we're following up with the sequel of the last movie we watched, which this is only one of 3 sequels that Nick Cage has ever done.
Which is not very many for somebody who's been a big-time actor for this long.
Yes. Yeah, and this movie, I saw online, someone said this was his 100th role, which I thought...
Wait, by role, are they counting Grug twice or once?
Oh, I think they meant 100th movie.
Okay.
But I thought we had already done his 100th movie.
Huh, that's a good question.
There's probably some just discrepancy as far as, like, which of these
movies...
Do you
count... Yeah, like, do you count any, like, TV show appearances he might have made? Do you count, you know, like...
Yeah.
He did some weird stuff before he was Nicolas Cage, when he was still Nicolas Coppola.
That's true.
That we found clips of on Instagram and whatever. I don't know if you count those.
If you've done 100 films...
That's a lot.
3 sequels is not very many.
No.
So this must have been a real pull for him. I don't know. But they did get everyone back. And added 3 new, pretty famous voices.
Mm-hmm.
And this was released during the pandemic in 2020.
It was the first animated film to be released during the pandemic. November 2020 was when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the highest grossing... Or it was the first movie since Sonic the Hedgehog. First animated movie since Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh my god.
The first animated film since Sonic the Hedgehog.
To break $200 million.
You just keep adding more quantifiers on it. Like, first film with a cave family that made broke $200 million.
Anyways, it was successful, yes. I guess.
Which, like, it was made on such a smaller budget than the first one. The first movie the budget was somewhere between like 130 and 165 million.
Which is crazy. And this one had only 65 million as the budget. So, I don't know where they cut those corners because they got, as I said, more stars. Yeah, most of the budget has to be going to the film, to like the actors, unless like they're getting their money in like the profits, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe because of the pandemic, they didn't do as much, like, marketing and...
That could be.
Stuff like that, so they didn't spend money on the back end of all that sort of... I don't know, because I'm like, the animation still looks good. There's still a lot of action sequences. And they got, in addition to our original cast, they added Peter Dinklage, Kelly Marie Tran, and... Who's the mom?
Leslie Miller.
Leslie Mann.
Miller?
Mm-hmm. Is it? I don't know who Leslie Miller is. I thought it was Leslie Mann. In any event, and added an insane soundtrack.
Oh my god. The soundtrack. First
part of the movie, I was like, normal soundtrack. And then at the end, we get like 3 truly wild songs. 2 of which...
Oh, sorry, it is Leslie Mann. I'm done.
Okay, I was like, I don't know Leslie Miller. For some reason, Leslie Miller sounds like someone that went to, like, my church or something. You know, like someone I went to high school with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Jack Black sings on 2 of the songs on this.
Yeah. And Haim.
He's not in the movie. He doesn't act in the movie.
Listen, I'm here for whatever songs Jack Black wants to sing on whatever movies, but it is odd for him to be singing a song for a soundtrack for an animated movie without being a role in it.
Yeah. We did like a slow turn to each other.
Like, that's
and you were
Black.
like, is that Jack Black? And I listened for a minute and I said, that is Jack Black.
Certainly. He's hard to miss.
That is absolutely Jack Black. You cannot mistake his
and
voice.
It was fantastic. It was a real highlight for me. It was, he was doing, the end credit, like sort of the end of the movie song, he was doing a cover of I Think I Love You, which was like a recurring song throughout the movie. Just like that little twist just for the end. Which
I thought was very fun, that they used that song throughout and then did the cover at the end. Yeah. So, so they weren't cutting the budget there with the soundtrack. No. So, I don't know where the money was cut from.
Did all of the actors do this for free because they were like, this will be our gift to the world?
Maybe they were all free during the pandemic, and so they had to...
You're like, I'm not doing anything.
Sure,
I can
whatever.
read some lines.
This is also the longest gap between DreamWorks sequels.
Oh, really? Because it was a long time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was originally like right after the first one came out, they were going to do a sequel and it got canceled. And then sort of resurged in the late, like in 2018 or 2019, I think is when they started making it.
As far as animated films go, like the first one was very DreamWorks in that, like there was a lot of Looney Tunes kind of antics in the first one. This one leaned a lot more heavily on that like Nickelodeon kind of style of like weird sequences than the first one did, that feel very like cartoons when we were like kids, you know, like your Ed and Eddie kind of like weird like close-ups of their faces becoming more and more grotesque. Or that like SpongeBob would do that, or like Ren and Stimpy, you know, like
there were some weird it's not body horror, but it's sort of like the comedy version. It gives me
the same feeling.
Yeah, it's like the comedy version of body horror.
Them just getting more and more unsettling.
Yes, it was. That's a good point. It was very strange. There was something about this film. The original film felt like Ice Age, which we said during the episode. This one felt more like a Pixar movie to me.
Did it?
In many ways. The animation style did.
Huh.
And I don't know if it's because of the Bettermans.
That could be.
Or because of, like, their, like, the location. And it was much more like jungle and... I don't know. Some about it just seemed a little...
Like Madagascar or something?
It felt very Madagascar. Especially when they get abducted by the monkeys at the end.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is straight out of Madagascar with the lemurs.
But it was also Mad Max.
But it also suddenly became Mad Max at
Fury Road.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Specifically Fury Road, because it was the Thunder Women.
The Thunder Women.
Which was incredible.
Yeah, so
should we, like, briefly try to encapsulate the plot of this one? Just to set it up?
I want to talk about the opening.
Yeah.
Because the opening is real rough to watch. Real rough way to start a children's film is with the actual scene of Guy's parents dying in the tar pit that he described in the first film.
They do kind of sanitize it a little bit. You don't actually see them dying. You just see that they're stuck.
Yeah.
Like, you see them, but they're just, like, standing in tar. And
but
then they're like, go away.
You gotta
go without us, and you just see little baby Guy.
Because the dad is like, it's getting higher, and the mom is like, don't look. And I was like, what? And she's like, go towards tomorrow, Guy. Turn away. And I'm like,
go towards the light.
This?
Yeah.
Oh, that was rough. And then it sort of does got like a montage of Guy traveling on his own until he met the Croods.
Yeah.
To sort of show, I guess, how lonely he was, or how uncertain life was.
He was very lonely, it was very uncertain, and then he meets the Croods. To show
why he wants to, like, have a stable home.
Yeah.
So that's how it opens, and then it's, like, a mirror of the opening of the last film, and that we see the Croods family sort of working together, but now we can see, like, they work much better together.
I have a question that I know you can't answer.
I can.
Maybe you can. The opening, obviously a very sad scene.
Yeah.
Why didn't I cry?
Yeah.
Was it too sudden?
I think it's too sudden. There was no build-up.
It was just too abrupt, no build-up, because, you know, like, Pixar is really good at doing opening sequences that are just devastating, and you're, like, weeping before the movie even really starts. And this one, like, obviously, like, I know who Guy is, I know what happened to his family, and now they're actually showing it. And I'm, like, an easy movie crier.
Same.
Like, I cry at everything.
Yeah.
Did not cry at that.
I think if they had shown us the scene in the original movie when he described it, we would have cried. Or if they had opened it with him and his family happy together, maybe with the Bettermans to introduce them, and then they got stuck in the tar pit, we would have cried. And it probably would have been too much for the opening. But that would have felt more like Finding Nemo opening, right? Or Up. Where,
like, that's the Pixar signature, right?
Yes.
Is they've got to make you cry before you know anything.
Yes. And I think it was just starting with, like, the silhouette of them stuck in the tar pit is, we don't have time to get worked up.
Yeah.
It just was over. And then you were like, what? And then you go, oh, baby belt.
Yeah.
And
they kind of jump right into it, yeah.
Yeah. And then we get the cave drawings with the recap of the last film.
Like, it's like... he meets Eep, and then Eep is telling the story again, just like in the last movie.
Yes. And the conflict when we start is no longer that he hates Guy. It's that he's worried, one, that they are so lovesick that it's just gross. Like, everyone's grossed out. It is like, you know, they are taking too long to do everything because they're, like, making googly eyes at each other. And also that Grug is afraid that they will, like, make their own family and leave. Mm-hmm. And if there's anything we know is that Grug wants the family to be together. His problem, I guess, in this movie is that he's too clingy.
Yeah.
And he loves his family too much. So that's sort of where we are at the very beginning. And then we meet the new family, which is the Bettermans. They aptly named Bettermans.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this film anti-Semitic?
Maybe. I won't lie. That crossed my mind. Because they said better man, and they're like Betterman. And I said, oh, they're Jewish. And I feel like that the mom, at least, is sort of coded as Jewish.
Yeah, I kind of think all of them are.
All of them can, yeah. Yeah, it's very strange. It's a little... yeah, I don't know.
They're more evolved. They control all of the food.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And really, like, in the film, I guess, sort of we're supposed to think that they're racist against the cave people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it's, like, a lot of, like, sort of racial conflict allegory happening.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. With cave people versus...
yeah.
Humans.
They're just not civilized.
Yeah, and they say you people, and they're like,
what
do you mean by you people?
Yeah.
And I said, oh no. Oh no.
It's like kind of heavy-handed with it.
It's pretty heavy-handed. It is. And imagine if instead of Jack Black they had Kanye do the soundtrack.
Something that would not age well 2 years later. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I can't see Kanye doing a soundtrack for a kid's movie anyways.
Not now.
Like, not even in the past.
No.
But he always took himself too seriously for that.
That's probably true, yeah.
But it would have been funny.
I also picked up on that. I also was getting weird vibes from that. Like, I think first and foremost, they're sort of like a hippie.
Yeah.
They're presented as sort of like...
they're yuppies.
Yep, they're yuppies. Yeah, they are yuppies. Absolutely. New agey. She's sort of a Gwyneth Paltrow.
They're yuppies.
The daughter's nice, though.
The daughter's nice. Dawn. Yeah, they're yuppies and they're NIMBYs.
They're NIMBYs. There's very
they're like,
NIMBY.
These people are totally fine. I just don't want them to live in my neighborhood.
I just don't want them here. There's a big environmental message in this movie.
Also, yes.
Because for one,
they're tackling all the issues in Croods too.
Yes. With the wolf spiders at the end, I was like, Oh, they befriend pretty much every animal that... Like, every prey or predator animal they come across, they eventually befriend in some way.
Unless they eat them.
Unless it's, like, the big King Kong creature.
Which they killed.
But also, yeah, there's this whole sort of narrative about, like, changing the environment to make your life better.
Like, changing the water pathways, and it actually... the consequences that destroyed this whole ecosystem for these other... For the punch monkeys.
For the poor punch monkeys. Yeah, so this is an environmental movie. It's also got something to say about NIMBYs, but it also is a little anti-Semitic. So, you know. So, you know, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. No, I guess that's, like, everybody kind of had their own little subplot going in this movie, too. Like...
It was a lot more complicated than the last film.
It was very complicated. They're like, you know all of these characters now, right?
Yeah. We didn't have... you know, to go through the same, like, getting to know everyone type thing. So instead we have, like...
It did more or less just kind of jump into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think... I will say one thing that I do like about this, the way they did this film, because when I first sort of read or saw the trailer, whatever, I thought there was going to be sort of a, like, love triangle thing, because they're introducing a teenage daughter.
Yeah, and there really wasn't.
There wasn't. No,
there was the one that the parents wanted to happen.
Wanted... their daughter to end up with Guy, but neither Guy nor Dawn seemed to even, like, acknowledge that, and then, like, Eep and Dawn immediately became friends, and that was very fun.
Yeah, that was nice.
I really liked that, their whole friendship, and that there was no, like, conflict there. They just
and their friendship was so fun, too.
Yeah. Like, the parents are fighting, and they're just off having a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a big fan of the, taking Dad's tiger out for a ride. Taking the death cat out for a ride to go jumping.
Taking the death cat for just like
Jump it! Let's go jump stuff!
I got a scar. Yeah, so they were great. The treehouse in this film made me think of George of the Jungle.
Oh, yeah.
The movie with my mans. It looks so much like the treehouse than that.
More complex, I think, but
a little more. Yeah, it was more complex, but he had the same sort of, like, using vines and trees and stuff to add for complex machinery, like making elevators and stuff out of vines. That you're like, that doesn't work.
Have we not just, like? I feel like kind of the thing of George in the Jungle is you're supposed to think that he's this big dummy. Like, he's, like, such a himbo, but he's, like, out here inventing all of these complex pulleys and...
Yes. He wasn't a dummy. He was not
He's
dumb.
An engineer.
He just didn't have a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
He didn't have information, but he was a smart man. I mean, he emotionally was very smart. We can remember that.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
The king of all himbos.
Absolutely.
Him and Kronk.
Kronk. Oh. Also, like, more intelligent than given credit for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they were both emotionally intelligent. Yeah. And Kronk was a great cook.
Great cook.
Spoke squirrel.
Just wanted everybody to try his spinach...
spinach puffs.
Spinach puffs.
Another thing I really liked about this movie... Okay, wait, I'm gonna start with this question. Do you think, because there were so many conflicts, right? And, like, our lifestyle versus their lifestyle sort of things. Do you think anyone was in the wrong, or was it all just misunderstandings?
I mean, I think, like, the message is once you get to know each other and everything, that, you know, you'll get along and it'll be fine. I still kind of think the Bettermans were racist against cave people.
I think that Phil Betterman is a bad person.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that, like, even, you know, his wife...
And he's, like, got his man cave so he can escape from his family.
That's what I was about to talk about. Yeah. And I was like, I kind of think Phil Betterman is the... And, like, during, you know, when they were abducted by the punch monkeys, like, Grug, I think a little bit more than him, was trying to, like, think of a way to escape. And he was just, like, so certain that he was right.
Annoying. Yeah.
That he wouldn't even listen to anyone else. And so, yeah, in my head, Phil Betterman is the villain.
He is, yeah, absolutely. Well, and his wife is kind of the same.
But she comes around, I think, quicker.
Yeah.
She has, like...
After she gets rescued, she's kind of more...
Yeah.
But, like, she was she was an asshole, too, because she
Yes.
made them crash the Death Cat, and then stomped off on her own and almost got killed and had to be saved. So, I don't know. I don't think she was that much better.
Yeah, I think she just came around quicker because there was, like, girl bonding time.
Yeah.
But the first thing that made me be like, I don't like Phil, was the man cave.
The man cave is a red flag.
Yes, and I loved that Grug was like, so you hide from your family?
You don't want to be with your family?
You don't
How
like
is this helping them?
Yeah, and they're like, it was supposed to be Grug is too clingy for his family, like, to his family, right? He needs to give them space. But Phil is built a wall around his heart and is keeping everyone out. And I said...
The wall is a metaphor.
The wall was a metaphor.
He's built a wall around his heart and his home.
But I was like, I mean, I don't know. I think that loving your family too much is probably better than, like,
absolutely
not letting your family in at all.
No, I think generally speaking, even in the first movie, that I don't think Grug could learn about boundaries a little bit, but I think Grug's a good guy.
Yes, yeah, and as we talked in the first movie, it felt kind of like the family was based on the, like, sitcom family from, the 50s, 60s. But I think that's one way that Grug is already different from that, because he is not like, oh, I need my alone time.
Yeah.
My family sucks. Instead, he was like, I love my family so much that I cannot be parted from them.
I gotta keep everybody safe, and they're only safe if I can see them.
I want to sleep in a pile together.
I have come around on the pile. I think it's very sweet.
Honestly,
can we talk about the pile?
The quantum pile, sleep pile?
Yeah. How did the pile... They did not do this in the first Croods movie.
No.
Not
I think they
to the
did
same
kind of
degree.
sleep in a pile.
They did sleep in a pile.
Because, like, Guy visibly did not enjoy that.
Yeah. No, they absolutely slept in a pile.
This was less a pile than a ball.
This was like... But, like, they would all meet in the middle of it somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are their bodies
crawling
working?
Through it? Like, they were tunneling through the sleep pile?
It's like a cave system.
Yes. And I said, how? There are body parts here that I don't know who they're connected to. There are just, like, brown...
I can see head and shoulders. Whose arm is that?
Everyone's head is in the middle talking, and I'm like, how is it a pile? How are you like looking around in a ball instead of just laying on top of each other? It was bananas. And I said it's like a black hole or something. We know it exists, but we don't know how. Yeah, no, I'm with Guy on that though. I need alone time. I can't do that.
You don't want to sleep in a pile?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My cat sleeps at the foot of my bed, and that's the best I can do. I'm like, that's even a little much, to be honest. Sometimes she kicks me.
Sometimes she puts her face in your face.
Sometimes she puts her face in my face and wakes me up and screams at me. So, no, I don't want to do a sleep pile. But I do love that Chunky the Death Cat is around in this film.
He's very cute.
He's so cute.
I think they could have had more Chunky the Death Cat.
Not enough Chunky the Death Cat.
And he could have been voiced by Jack Black.
He could have been Jack Black? I think that the King Punch Monkey should have been Jack Black.
Oh, yeah, except for then we wouldn't have the language that the Punch Monkeys speak, which is all via punches.
What if he was the translator? What if, like,
instead of Guy speaking Punch Monkey?
Yeah, instead of, like, at the bottom of the screen where it has the translation, what if you heard Jack Black's voice reading it to you?
I mean, any way that we can get Jack Black in on this movie.
Somehow. Get him in there. I did love Chunky the Death Cat. So, when they first get to the Betterman's, like, estate, I don't know, inside the wall. Excuse me. When they first get into the Betterman's, like, estate, I guess.
Estate. Seems correct.
And they gorge themselves in a truly, like, disgusting way.
Full on close-ups on face with eyes going in the wrong directions and just bulging cheeks.
As you talked about, the, like,
Ren and Stimpy grotesque over-the-top animation.
And they kept cutting to Chunky the Death Cat just quietly lapping at the stream.
Which was so good.
So funny.
Such a good visual.
One of my favorite jokes in the film is just like, and then they get captured in the trap and Chunky's just like, It goes back to just lapping up water. That was so good. Oh, we didn't even talk about Grug's chest hair.
Not yet. We're about to.
We were in the man cave. We got distracted when they're in the man cave. They strip down to go into the sauna. And sort of.
You can kind of see, I realized that when Grug is fully dressed, you can see a little bit of chest hair peeking out over the top of the... But when he's naked, he basically has fur.
Yes. Very heart-shaped pelt.
Fully heart-shaped pelt.
And there's a joke about, like, you can take your animal skin off. And he's like, hey,
I already did. It's the same shape of chest hair as Nicolas Cage actually has, though.
It's definitely his same pattern.
It is.
They definitely watched some movie that had a shirtless Nick Cage in it.
Where he didn't shave his chest, because he does, like, shave...
Does
sometimes. When he has shirtless scenes, sometimes he's like, I gotta be smooth.
Yeah, sometimes clearly the director was like, hey, buddy.
That's too much hair.
we gotta trim that. But it felt very much like they copied it for Grug.
Yeah.
And what a blessing. So what's the central conflict then once we get to the Bettermans?
The Bettermans want to steal Guy to marry Dawn. And, obviously Eep and Guy are in love, but now they're kind of fighting because Guy is clearly happy here, and Eep doesn't quite fit in because none of the cave people fit in, and also they're not allowed to eat bananas.
That's the big problem.
That's the big problem.
No bananas.
They're not allowed to eat bananas. That's the only rule, and they don't just explain why that's the rule, which would have been nice.
Or say you can have one banana, which I think would have been fair. One banana.
I think they could have said, listen, we really need the bananas for this crazy monster that comes every night, and so we really gotta make sure that we have enough for that, but...
Which even his wife didn't know about.
Yeah. Another reason why Phil is the villain.
Phil is the villain of this piece.
Phil's the only one that knows about the monster that comes banging on the wall every night that needs bananas.
Yeah, he didn't tell his wife, his family. Yeah, so what we find out then is that, I don't know, the conflict devolves.
Grug
they all fight.
What's his wife's name?
Ooga.
Grug and Ooga eat all the bananas is, like, revenge because they find out that they're not welcome there anymore.
The wife, Mrs. Betterman, I don't remember her first name. She passively aggressively...
Hope, right?
Hope. Passively aggressively, like, gives her a goodbye gift for when they leave. And is more or less like, well, Guy's gonna stay with us. And Ooga's like... No, Guy is ours. He's part of our family. So yeah, after they fight about that, they eat the bananas, and they have a big, That's where
we get our second, like, very weird, grotesque scene is when Uga and Grug are, like, freaking out about, like, the manipulation that they're trying to keep Guy. And you get, like, Grug's, like, whole forehead bulges out, so he's, like, super Neanderthal.
It's like a werewolf.
It's like a werewolf transformation.
You even have him, like, howl in front of a moon. But yeah, he gets, like, super, super caveman. And then they have sort of another grotesque when they're, like, fighting at the table. Things get pretty...
Oh, yeah.
Pretty wild. Because by that point, Eep and Guy are fighting, too.
Yes.
And also, Eep took Dawn out. Dawn got stung. Her hand's all swollen up, so they're mad at Eep about that. So everyone's fighting. And then we find out about the monster that eats the bananas. And it turns out to be a tribe of punch monkeys who steal the men and are taking them away. And the ladies have to go after them and get them.
And that's when we get my favorite part of the film, which is the Thunder Sisters.
This is so wild, because suddenly the Thunder Sisters is all that Gran talks about.
Suddenly that is the only thing Gran talks about. Something that Gran didn't mention in the whole first movie. Gran gets weirder for this one. Gran gets way weirder for this movie. Way weirder. Because we find out that her hair is actually some kind of little bat creature. Which, that happens, like, well before the Thunder Sisters, because she takes it off at the dinner when they're all fighting.
Yes, and she, like, throws it, like, and then it's running around the table.
I'll tell you my secrets, too, or something like that, and then her hair flies off. And
his name is Wiggasis. I loved Wiggasis. But yeah, it's so bananas, because she went from, like, even the first half of this film, she doesn't talk about the Thunder Sisters. And then suddenly, like, for 15 minutes, it's all she says.
I was a queen of a tribe of women.
Yes.
And you can tell she's saying women, like, spelled, like, with the Y. Like, the way that, like...
Well, at the end, when they're throwing, the names of the like, fake names of everyone up, it's WIMMIN.
Yep.
Women.
Yep.
Tribe of women.
Tribe of women. It was very, kind of, like a 70s exploitation film. Yeah. They kind of play with that in, like, Kill Bill, where they're, like, introducing the characters and you see their names up on the screen.
It very much was, yeah. And you said Mad Max Thunder Road, too.
Oh, yeah, it's also Mad Max Thunder Road, because...
By the end, it's very Mad Max Thunder Road.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, the women go after...
Fury Road, not Thunder Road.
Thunder Road, Fury Road.
You're just combining Thunderdome and Fury Road.
I am.
Yeah.
Which, let's get it. Let's do that movie.
Bring Tina Turner back.
Bring Charlize Theron back. I can't wait. So yeah, at this point we sort of get the Bettermans that seem more advanced and smarter, but then they need the Croods to, like, track and save, Yeah,
it's like,
Phil.
Maybe you have your farming skills, but we have all of these other tracking, hunting things that are also useful for survival.
Yes. They all get carried in, or the men get carried in a tree trunk, which is the only way to travel.
Yeah, the way that Guy traveled for the whole first movie.
Yeah. Travel log.
Another great pun.
Oh my god. I just have a note that says, please include the speech about the monkeys.
It's not just punch monkeys. It's kick monkeys, headbutt monkeys, low monkeys, bite monkeys, ab-tight monkeys, shoulders that punch, tails that crunch, deranged stranglers, strange danglers, fang danglers, mouth breathers, brain squeezers, and a dude with weird eyes.
And a dude with weird eyes. Please make that the post on Instagram. It's just
dude with weird eyes. A dude with weird eyes does describe Nicolas Cage sometimes.
Sometimes it describes Nicolas Cage. That monkey with the weird eyes very much looks like something from Adult Swim.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was genuinely off-putting.
Yes.
And then we have the wolf spiders.
Oh yeah, the wolf spiders are adorable. I love them.
When they first showed up, I said, "Oh no, thank you." It was pretty creepy.
It was creepy, but you warmed up to it. It was just
like a big wolf head with too many legs, and I said, "I don't know." Too many eyes, too. Too many eyes, too many legs, and I said, "I don't know about this."
Here's the thing: if a wolf spider
puppy came out, and I was back in.
If a wolf spider existed in real life, I would be horrified. But in a cartoon form, I was like, yes, this is adorable.
They did a good job of when they first appear making them look scary.
Yeah.
And then the wolf puppy came out, and it was like, oh no, they're cute. They got little beans on their legs. On the bottoms, yeah. and they're like panting.
And his tongue was like hanging out.
Oh, it was cute. Yeah,
and then they ride the wolf spiders in to save the guys from the punch monkeys.
Yes. They were so cute. Yeah, and that's sort of when we get the, like, Thunder Sisters lady bonding moment.
And they get, like, the crazy music with, like, the electric guitars squealing, and they're, like, doing, like, the names as they introduce all of the different characters with their new names.
Yes.
What's your Thunder Sister name?
Oh, my Thunder Sister name would probably be, like... All I can think of is, like, Thunder Hair. Because I have so much hair.
Thunder
I feel like it would have something to do with hair. What's yours?
Black Lightning.
Ooh. Black Lightning.
I've got lightning earrings on today.
Maybe I would be Medusa.
Oh, there you go.
I'd do that. I like
Did anybody have real names?
Medusa
still fits, I guess.
Dawn was called, like, Sunset or something like that. And
something Sunset.
Eep was called
Fireheart.
And
then there's Bogwater.
Thunk was just called Thunk.
Thunk was just called Thunk.
Bogwater. I loved the decision to just give Hope insane hair with no explanation.
Well, it was all messy when she woke up.
Yeah, I know, but it was like, it was crazy big.
It was anti-Semitic.
No.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was like supposed to be a metaphor of her
embracing her
not being so prim and proper and buttoned up, because she always had her hair in that braid. And so it was clearly a let yourself loose, but it was like twice the size of her.
Oh, it was huge.
And there was a part where
when Dawn was walking up to her and she was like walking through the hair, just like alive and whipping around.
The monkeys throw a bunch of flaming spears at her, and they just hit her hair and go out. And I was
she's Bogwater, so
she is Bogwater.
She's very wet.
Yeah, I did like this sort of Power Girls moment.
No, it was super fun.
It was very fun.
That could be like an animated short before something is just the Thunder Sisters.
Girls! Thunder Sisters! Yeah, that was wonderful. And I did love all of the weird graphics and the theme music.
It was fun.
It worked for me. It felt like they were parodying a 80s rock video or something, and I didn't know it, but I immediately was like, yeah, that exists. Guy and his Princess Leia moment.
Oh.
One of my favorite jokes in the film.
Oh yeah, when he becomes the translator for the Punch Monkeys, and then the King Punch Monkey has him up there with a collar, just
lounging in the same pose that Leia did.
And Leia.
Yeah, when Jabba the Hutt had her as a slave. Which is only it's only for a couple seconds, and then he sits up, but if you know the reference, you immediately see it. Because it is a funny joke that the Punch Monkeys, their language is punching and hitting. Mm-hmm. And so when he is translating, he has to just be repeatedly punched and hit and kicked. And he has to translate the story about, how they had this beautiful oasis and they had all the bananas they could want. And then this, giant King Kong creature would come and eat a bunch of bananas every month. And it was fine. But then, Phil took their water and then their bananas died. And now the King Kong creature is eating them.
They're going to sacrifice them to the King Kong. They dress them up as bananas.
It's a real VeggieTales.
It does. They do look like VeggieTales.
I wrote VeggieTales ass ending is what I put in my notes. And they're all put in this cart to be eaten by this porcupine baboon monster. But the ladies jump in to save them. I didn't even mention Grand Six-Pack.
Oh no! Yeah, when Gran transforms into the Queen of the Thunder Sisters, she does rip off her pelt.
Lizard pelt.
And she has a crazy six-pack, which is hilarious.
Crazy six-pack and a metal bra, a Valkyrie bra underneath. It was wonderful. And she's bald because Wigasus has flown off.
Right. Well, isn't Wigasus back by then?
No, that's when she sends Wigasus off.
Right, but isn't Wigasus back? Don't they know where they're going when they turn into the Thunder Sisters?
I can't remember.
I think they do. Okay. I think Wigasus is back. Because Wigasus has a cool mohawk now, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because he got struck by lightning.
Yeah. But he made her.
To just add to, the Mad Maxian-ness of her outfit.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they overcome, through friendship and teamwork and girl power, the Punch Monkeys.
Yeah, they're friends with the Punch Monkeys. At the end of the movie, they're like, the Punch Monkeys moved in next door. We're fun
because they killed the giant baboon creature.
Oh yeah, so now they're happy.
So now the Punch Monkeys don't have a giant predator anymore, and they take the wall down around the Betterman estate so that all the animals can enjoy the oasis. And the wolf spiders are there, and the Punch Monkeys are there. Everyone's having a great time. Grug has a best friend, the Banana Boys, which we agreed Grug needed a best friend.
Grug did need a best friend. I'm not sure Maybe they'll be good for each other, because they do need to, like, balance each other out a little bit, I think.
I think that's the idea. You know, he doesn't have a better option than Betterman, so...
There's no other people, as far as we can
Except for
seen.
Guy.
Well, yeah.
Which is, like, his son, so... Yeah, so it's good that he gets a friend. Oh, man, we didn't... And they were able to beat the baboon creature with the peanut toe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they beat they had, like, there was, like, this whole thing, right? Earlier in the movie, when, Eep is showing Dawn all of her scars, she's, like, showing her all of her scars, and she shows her toe, which is just a peanut.
Pinky toe.
Her pinky
she
toe.
replaced with a peanut, and
she's like, my dad doesn't even know about this one. And it came up later where they've just about almost defeated the King Kong monster, and he's like falling as kind of like Gandalf in the Balrog, like they're all hanging over the cliff, and somehow the King Kong monster has her with his giant paws by only a toe.
Pinky toe somehow.
And she's like, oh, that's not even my real toe, and then he falls.
Oh, so dumb.
So dumb.
So dumb.
I don't know how you have...
That reveal
I don't know how
laugh.
A creature that large
could even grab
onto only a pinky toe.
Absolutely not. If that was a real pinky toe, it would be ripped off.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter if it was peanut. It's gone. Yeah, so... I don't know. What'd you think?
I liked it. I think it was funnier than the first Croods movie.
Mm. Yeah.
I think that the first Croods movie was probably better.
I think you're right. I think that the first one told a more complete, simple story.
There might have been too much going on with this one.
This one, yes. It is funnier. Like we said with the first one, there's not a lot of jokes in the first half.
Yeah.
In this one, it's jokes all the way through because we already know the characters. But there was just, like, a lot going on, so it was sort of hard to, like, be super invested in any particular
Yeah, that was kind of how I felt.
Yeah. Like, I feel like Dawn's story could have been a whole film.
Yeah.
Of just, like, getting to experience the outside world and learn to not be, like, so afraid, which is sort of what Eep went through in the first movie. But it was just a lot. So, I don't know, it was fun.
So the first Croods movie's critic score was 72%, with an audience score of 77%. This one's actually higher.
Oh.
This one, the critic score is 77%, and the audience score is 94%. So I bet we get a Croods 3 if everybody's willing.
If everyone's willing. I was surprised they got everyone back for this one.
Me too, but like I said, this one was somehow critically at least more...
It made so much money.
It made a lot of money, and it was critically more successful.
That's true.
By like a couple percentage points, but still. The audience score is a lot higher, too.
Well, they got the TV show that we sort of watched.
Yeah, did the TV show come out after this one, I guess, probably?
Because when the TV show started, the Bettermans were in it. And I was like, who are these people?
I was confused about that because I thought for some reason that the TV show had been out in between, and I was like, oh, that...
To be honest, I think there might have been 2 TV shows.
Okay.
Because when I was looking for the Croods when I was searching for it on my TV, there were several options that came up, and I swear there were 2 shows. One of them a 2D show? Question mark?
There's the Croods Family Tree, which started in 2021.
Dawn of the Croods was 2015.
Oh,
and
that one's
the 2D one.
Yeah, okay, so there are 2 Croods TV shows. Weird.
I don't think either of them were very successful.
Those. Yeah, you don't need those.
We didn't need those. There wasn't that much story to tell.
No.
This is also one of the last films Cloris Leachman did. R.I.P. What a great role to go out on.
Do you think this was her last role?
It was certainly her last voice role.
Right.
I don't know if it was her last live action
She
role.
got to go out as the queen of the sisters, Thunder Sisters.
Queen of the women's. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was good. I'm kind of over watching animated films, I think, for a minute.
Good news, we're not doing animated films for a while.
What? What are we doing next?
So, my thought is that our very next one should probably be the one that's in theaters right now, so that we can watch it before it disappears.
Yeah. So we're going to see if we
can
find
the old way.
Because it's not out in a ton of theaters.
It's out in 2 theaters in Pittsburgh that I found. I think we have to go out to the Pittsburgh Mills Mall.
Ooh! Oh boy!
We're going to Tarentum, Liz!
We're going out on the range to see this cowboy movie. We gotta hitch up the horses to ride out there.
But then I did put out... So we were going to do Joe.
Yeah.
We've got like a whole lineup going, and I'm excited that we have so many plans for me to look forward to.
So many plans.
We were gonna do Joe, and I put out an ask on Instagram, and I got a few responses, but I think that the one that we're gonna go with is The Weatherman, which I'm excited for. That one's supposed to be pretty good, and I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen... Wait. Okay, there's The Weatherman, and then there's also The Family Man, right?
Yeah, those are different.
Okay, I saw The Family Man. I haven't seen The Weatherman.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we've got it all scoped out.
We got a lineup, folks. For a while, so don't you worry.
But it all leads us to the topic of this week's Inside the Cage!
Beautiful.
Which this week is...
what else could we talk about this week?
We have
the big news.
There's a trailer for Renfield, and it looks so fun.
It looks bananas. I am excited. I just saw the menu with Nicholas Hoult, and so far, Nicholas Hoult is great. I love him so much.
I've been a fan of Nick Hoult.
Oh, your friend Nick Hoult?
Well, we call him Nick Cage sometimes. So
yeah, we do. But I feel like he goes by Nick Cage.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say Nick.
Anyways. I'm a fan of Nick Hoult. Nicky Hoult. Since he was in Skins. And,
wow, deep pull. I have not seen Skins.
Oh, you should. Yeah. At least the parts that Nick Hoult is in.
I saw him in X-Men First Class, and I said, that kid's got something. He's good.
Yeah, me and Izzy watched all of Skins together at Heidelberg.
Nice.
Back in
when
college.
I was watching Doctor Who in my dorm.
When you were watching Doctor Who, me and Izzy were watching Skins.
Okay, well, some of us were sophisticated, and it wasn't
the
me.
The Skins crowd, right?
Yeah.
The ones that are watching all of these teenagers doing drugs, and it was British Euphoria.
Absolutely,
what it was.
Yeah. That sounds. I was watching aliens fighting, so.
And the first 2 seasons, which is where Nicholas Hoult is from, are really pretty good, and then it severely goes downhill.
Yeah.
But,
I think he's very good at doing making campy films, because Warm Bodies is great. I love that film.
Well, and he's great in Mad Max Fury Road.
Max Fury Road. And then I
really want to see. He's in that Catherine the Great show, and I want to see that one.
I haven't watched it. My friends love it, so I'm excited about that. I do think with films like this, there's a difficult balance of tone that I think is going to be. It could go either way, from judging from this trailer. It could either be too much, and then it is cringy, or it could be they could hit it just right, and it could be a really fun ride.
It for sure, based on the trailers, taking some fun big swings.
Yes,
it was really giving me Guillermo and What We Do in the it's an entire movie that's about Guillermo.
Yes, that is very much like What We Do in the Shadows.
I think the tone's a little bit different, but that was pretty much the vibe I got. Was the whole thing is just jokes about familiars, right?
Yes. Yeah, because I think with this, which is also the joke in What We Do in the Shadows, with the familiar, it's it's the constant waiting to become the vampire, and it being dangled in front of you, and that's how they control the familiar. And
although in this it seems from the trailer, it seems like familiars in and of themselves have some powers.
Yeah.
Whereas in What We Do in the Shadows, Guillermo has those powers because he's a descendant of Van Helsing, not because he's a familiar.
I have read, like, vampire stories before where, like, familiars have powers of some kind or, like, are half vampires, so I think that's sort of the route that they're... Because he's also obviously,
he's based on an actual...
Not immortal, but, like...
Dracula character, yeah. And I'm not familiar enough with original Dracula to...
I this is remember...
your time to shine. How much do you know about vampires, Liz?
It's been so long since I've read Dracula. I've watched the original movie more recently, and in the movie, they sort of make him the character... he's the one who goes to Transylvania, and he's supposed to be an estate lawyer, and then Dracula enslaves him and sends him ahead to be his, like... He's like the daytime man who makes sure that his coffin is loaded correctly onto the ship and that all of his stuff's in order, but also he is, like, definitely been bitten and controlled by Dracula and, like, eats bugs and wants to become a vampire.
Kind of like the vampire / not vampire in Vampire's Kiss.
Yes.
Eating the cockroach.
Yes, absolutely. That's definitely pulled from, like, Renfield.
I always thought that was a really weird choice.
It is very weird.
Regardless, it's a weird choice.
Doesn't matter if it's a reference or not.
But it must be a reference now that you said the thing about Renfield, right?
Yes, yeah. And that was in the novel. Renfield did eat bugs in the novel and was committed to the asylum and was sort of their, like, source of information about Dracula. But I can't remember when Dracula, like, recruited
Without that
him.
context, it was definitely... That just, like, provided so much context that I was just like, I'm gonna be stuck on it, because I'm like, before that I was just like, Nicolas Cage just really wanted to eat a cockroach for some reason.
Let me tell you, though, that's the only example I've ever heard of someone actually eating a cockroach to play any sort of vampire character, so...
For sure it is, right?
Hopefully the only one.
Sorry, we can talk about Dracula some more.
Spoilers for Vampire's Kiss. But yeah, I do think it seems like they know the source material. I hope they strike that tone right, because I'm very excited about it.
I'm excited about it too.
Yeah.
How do we feel about, so, like, Dracula doesn't feature too heavily. I feel like they're sort of trying to keep a little bit of that character under wraps.
Oh, I think that's a smart choice.
I think it's a smart choice too.
I don't think...
But honestly, he does look very creepy.
He looks great. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, he's gonna... Knowing him, he's gonna have interviews where he talks about Max Schreck and Nosferatu and, you know,
he's definitely, like, got a little bit more of a Nosferatu-ish appearance in some ways, where he's got, like, lots of sharp, pointy teeth.
Yes. Very, very pale skin. He's got the, like, very Bela Lugosi look.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
As far as his costume is concerned. And I hope that, like, what we see in the trailer is what we see in the movie, which is that Dracula shouldn't be in too much of the movie.
Yeah, I don't think
he shouldn't be in all of it. He should be, like...
It's about Renfield.
Right. And I think the more we see of him, the less funny it'll be. Yeah. The less scary. I don't know. Whichever one they're going for. The less you see of it, the better. But yeah, I don't know. There was positive reaction to the trailer.
The trailer was really good.
It was spread far and wide. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see that happening. When is it coming out? Do you remember?
April something.
Oh, was it April 14th?
That's your birthday.
That's my brother's birthday.
Oh, that's your brother's birthday.
Yeah.
Hang on. Renfield.
It would be funny if it was my brother's birthday, because Unbearable Fate of Massive Talent came out on my birthday.
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
I will never.
It is April 14th.
Right. Yes! The Kurtzman siblings. I'll never get the name right now. I can't get the name of our podcast right, and I can't get the name of the movie right. I am cursed.
It's okay, me too.
You did this to me.
Yep. Anyways.
Well, hopefully we'll be back soon with the old way.
Yep.
In our own way. I don't know, man. I tried to make it work. I think once I made the more bananas, more monkey joke, it's all downhill.
Oh my god.
Which I said that joke while staring into your eyes. So sorry about that.
Oh my god. Yep. Well, that's it, guys.
That's all we got. Stay cagey out there.
Stay cagey. Bye.
Bye.
Screaming out the words I dread. I think I love you. I think I love you. I think I love you. So what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid that I'm not sure of a love there is no cure for. I think I love you. Isn't that